Hi, my name is Drew, and I'm going to be reviewing the Canon EOS M today. Let's dive right into the features of the EOS M. The primary reason I bought this camera is because of its sensor. It has a hybrid CMOS APS-C size sensor that's about 40% larger than the micro 4/3 sensor, and the same size as you'll find in your Rebels, your 40D, 50D, 60D, 7D, all that sort of stuff. It's smaller than your 5D sensors. It's not full frame, but being able to have such a large sensor and such a compact body was key for me, which is the primary reason I purchased the camera. The EOS M is missing a few key features that you may find really important. It has no viewfinder. You can only shoot using the LCD. There's no onboard flash. There is a hot shoe compatible with the entire line of Speedlight flashes. I've already used my 580 EX2. Works on it beautifully. The Canon in the EOS M in the United States comes bundled with the EF-M, so the brand new mount, 22mm apertures f2, and it's an STM lens which allows autofocusing in movie mode, so really cool. The EOS M the form factor is really key here. If you take a look at it, it's really just absolutely tiny, and we'll get some close-ups of this here in a second. I want to show you compared. This is an Apple 4S. So just look at the same width. It's awesome. I love how small this thing is. It's not nearly as thin, obviously, and not necessarily pocketable in like a pair of jeans like what I'm wearing, but I've already carried it around in a fleece. No big deal. And really cool thing about this is it's not imposing. So when I'm at a party, I'm at a family gathering, and I'm taking pictures, I'm getting really high quality pictures, and people don't feel like I'm shoving a huge camera in their face, and they really want to know what's going on. Another cool feature about the EOS M is there's an adapter available to make it compatible with the entire range of EF and EFS lenses. That's really cool. That opens a lot of possibilities up with this camera. Obviously, when you have an adapter that's going to be about that big, it's going to add to the size, and so pocketability is not going to be as big, but that's got a lot of possibilities for like macro shooters, people who spend a lot of time on a tripod that don't have to worry so much about the ergonomics of holding like a 7200. It won't have to be as awkward for them. I'm really excited about this camera, and let's go over some key things about what I like about the camera and what I don't like about the camera. All right, let's look a little closer at the EOS M. So one of the niftiest features I like about this camera actually happens to be the lens cap. Canon's finally gotten a clue, and they made a center pinch cap. There you go. Don't you wish you had those for every single one of your Canon lenses? Every single one. You can buy third-party lens caps, you can buy Nikons or whatever, but Canon finally included one. I know it's kind of dorky, but I like it a lot. So really, the form factor here is really what does it for me. So very simple on the front. You do have this nice grip here. I think that makes all the difference about how comfortable this camera is to hold and how sure it feels in your hand. You've got the release button over here, and you have an AF assist lamp there. There's your hot shoe, and you do have left and right microphones. On the back, it's a fairly simple camera, and not a ton of features, which really emphasizes how much Canon wants you to be using the touchscreen to do everything with the camera. So just power it on. Not the world's fastest camera to power on. However, it powers on quick enough and about as quick as my wife's S95. You have a few options down here. I'm in M mode, so I have a few more than you might if you were in full auto mode. This button down here allows you to change whether or not you want to be able to touch the screen to engage the shutter and take a picture. So once enabled, you just push anywhere on the screen and it'll focus and take a picture. Here you've got control of your shutter speed. Okay, and then you have control over your aperture, same system. Okay. Here you have your meter, just the same as any other meter on a camera you're used to. It also shows you your exposure compensation if you're in one of the shutter priority modes, like shutter priority or aperture priority. You have control over your ISO, same. This camera does go up to 12,800. You can magnify what's on the screen for better focusing if you're doing a manual focus job. You have a quick menu which provides a lot of different options, your different AF modes. If you want one shot or continuous mode, you have picture quality. I shoot in RAW. You can do RAW plus JPEG or whatever, but this does support RAW capture, which is awesome. Oops. This is one of the features not available when you're shooting RAW. The creative filters like your Instagram type stuff. You got your white balance, your picture style, your lighting optimizer, and then you have your metering modes. You have spot metering on this camera, which I think is fantastic. I really like spot. It helps me when I'm trying to do a picture. I have a better idea of what I'm shooting at rather than letting the camera make up its mind. Some key features about the camera that are going to be more comfortable for someone who doesn't really want to use the touchscreen, though I wouldn't recommend it. Get used to the touchscreen and you're going to love it. Is you got the control wheel, very reminiscent of every other Canon camera, especially their lower end or less professional models. So on the left, you've got the AF AE lock star. That button's customizable what you want to do if you want it to just lock exposure or just lock autofocus or whatnot. The top, you've got your timer / shooting mode, so continuous like burst shooting. According to Canon, I can't test this because I don't have the adapter. With the adapter and an EF or EFS lens, not an EF M lens, you can shoot up to 4.3 frames per second. I imagine that's JPEG, not RAW, but time will tell. In the middle, you've got your Q button, the same thing you've got up there. The obviously power saving mode. You've got the plus minus will switch between shutter priority or shutter speed or aperture over here. And so you can control everything on here through the touch dial, but I just recommend getting used to the touchscreen. One nice thing is the trash button is customizable. A lot of different options, like you can you can have it set so it'll center the focal point in the middle or whatever. The camera's not gonna be able to focus that close on the strap behind it. Really, I think the camera's quite nice. There's the form factor I think really does it, and why this camera is so appealing to me. That plus the sensor size. We'll wrap it up here in a moment. So now that you've seen some up close and personal features with the camera, I'd like to go with you kind of the pros and the cons of the EOS MD from my perspective. Keep in mind, I'm an enthusiast. I really like gear. I really like gear stats. I really like to try different things, experiment, that kind of stuff. I'm a big technical person. I'm not super creative. I'm not a professional photographer, but I do know key things about photography, about exposure, about how to take a good technical photo. So when you're thinking about what I'm saying, run it through that filter, know where I'm coming from versus where you are, and maybe somebody you might be thinking of recommending this camera to or advising against it. Consider where they're coming from. So pros, small form factor, it's perfect. I love the size. Can't say I'm unhappy with the size at all. Sensor, great. Image quality is fantastic. It's exactly what I wanted. It's on par with my 7D actually. I mean, the sensor's a couple new generations newer. Grain noise is less. So really pleased with the image quality. It's fantastic. I like the touchscreen. The touchscreen really works well. The capacitive and the multi-touch. It's really excellent. It's smooth. It's well engineered. I love it. Now to the cons. Autofocus is a con. You're going to see that in all reviews. I think that you're going to come across people say, autofocus, it's not there. I disagree with that statement. It's not all the way there, but it's not there at all. The autofocus works as well as you know what it's designed to do. This is a snapshot camera. This is a vacation camera. This is a landscape, still life, that kind of camera. I don't expect to be chasing after my 14-month-old toddler with this taking like the best snaps in the world. It's not going to happen. I know what the limitations of the camera are. If I want those kind of photos, I'm probably going to have to break out my 7D. I'm going to need to get something with real good autofocus. But that being said, I have not missed a single shot because of the autofocus of the EOS MD, or EOS M, there's no D. The EOS M, I haven't missed a shot. It works well, but it's still not as fast as I would like. I think it works better if you do tweak it. I turned off a continuous autofocus, and I did set it to a single point, and I just choose what point that is rather than let it kind of pick what I want. But that's how I like to shoot. I can't comment on a lot of the automatic features because that's not how I would use a camera. Another con is the price. I mean, at $799, it's kind of expensive, but it's not too expensive. I mean, for what you get, I would think maybe a 2-lens kit would be more practical, or include the adapter or include the flash. And they do in the non-US markets, so they are kind of taking us for a ride, but they know we're going to purchase. I did. The other thing I don't like is the battery life is not as good as I was expecting from a camera this size. I was thinking maybe they would get it 250, 300 shot range. That's something I'm more used to with my 7D. Fortunately, there's no flash, so I'm not going to eat up a lot of flash with that. Though the AF assist light is an LED, so you are going to have some power drain there in lower light situations. I really hope you've enjoyed the view. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, unhappy thoughts, just want to share how much you like the camera, don't like about the video, just comment. I'm happy to respond, and I hope we can get a dialogue going about this camera. Check my the description of the video for a link to some a Flickr set that I've taken with some shots. They're just snapshots. They're not works of art, but they can kind of give you an idea of the image quality and what's possible with the EOS M. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.